Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Ceres in the fourth house in a natal chart. Now, Ceres in astrology can be connected with how one may nurture and care for others, but it may also be associated with how one may desire to be nurtured and cared for. Now, given that this is the fourth house, well, we're talking about more about sectors in life in which one is caring for. Now, given this is the fourth house, I mean, this could be about one that very strong, that emphasizes nurturing the family, their home. If something needs remodeling or renovation, they might be really very punctual and reliable in terms of doing so. And let's say, I mean, if it's like in Virgo, I mean, that's like epitomizing reliability right there. Now, it could also be about nurturing and caring those you feel close to home with, and also and at the end of at the end or latter part of one's life, this person may still be very strongly involved in nurturing and caring for others, and have that strong desire to be nurtured and cared for at that time. Especially if this person, when you're at the latter part of life, a lot of times you're debilitated or have some sickness, and you might really strongly need that. So it could be a good placement for that, I would think, if that in that event. Now, also about nurturing who you are at the core, the qualities you have at the core, and also safety and security, and whether it would be in the home using some advanced alarm systems. And I mean, say you have this in Aquarius, this could be somebody that nurtures their safety and security online very strongly. It could be also about nurturing and caring for your traditions as well. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with dissipated or depleted self-worth or self-esteem. Now, since we're talking about the fourth house, a sector of life, this could be attributed to, sometimes it could be some situation in your home, in your family life. It might be an erratic or unstable home. I mean, let's say if you have this in Aquarius, or if this conjuncts Uranus in the fourth house, this could be something where it might be where you don't feel secure, maybe in yourself to some degree, due to the fact that your living situation may be chaotic or unstable. I have Uranus in my fourth house in my progress chart, so I could understand how that could be. Now, also, too, it might be some situations with home family members that might be causing some dissipated or depleted self-worth or self-esteem, or people you're just close to home with. Let's say if it's an Aries, it might be acrimonious, contentious situations that may be causing this. And it might have something to do with little emotional security for whatever reason. And you might also be feeling this way about that and during that latter part of life, sadly. And it might also be tied into something with your roots, your ancestry, that you might discover that might not be savory, or there's something that's very negative or adverse in connection with that. Like, say if you had an ancestry or ancestors, a number of them were alcoholic or something, maybe, or they were involved in criminal activity, something like that. And it might even be attributed to situations with the less dominant parent at times, which is often the mother, and might be about who you are at the core as well. I mean, let's say you have this in Leo, and especially if you have Leo on the fourth house cusp in your natal chart, this could be connected with maybe some dissipated or depleted self-worth or self-esteem due to negative, like Leo characteristics you feel you may have at the core, such as maybe being arrogant or egotistical or overly flamboyant or conceited, something, or overly attention-seeking, something like that. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be connected with raising children. Now, if you are a parent and you are raising children, it could be one where, of course, you would emphasize the home. Now, that's emphasized anyway, where people are going to often raise their children in their home, but it may be more emphasized and more pronounced since we're talking about the fourth house now. And also, it could be through in the less dominant parent, which is often the mother, may often be able to lend a helping hand as far far as that goes, and even just home and family members, people you're close to home with may be willing to offer assistance. And also, the fourth house again is connected with emotional security or safety and security. Now, say if you have this in Scorpio, it could involve being able, encouraging your children to go beyond subterfuge and superficiality, seeing through facades in order to be safe and secure, not be easily led or beguiled by others. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with being coerced or forcibly taken against one's will. Now, given that, which in other words is connected with kidnappings or abductions. Now, these things don't happen very often, but in isolated cases, if they do happen, this could be one which might strongly impact the emotional security of the person. It may involve someone you're close to home with, or might be done through a family member. It could be something where you look at this as well. This could also be, some cases, fourth house could be connected with graves. It could be by a graveyard where maybe this takes place. If you're visiting, you're paying respects, mourning somebody, that a family member that had died or something like that. That is where, as far as this could happen in some cases. Now, the thing is, and might also, since this is about, the fourth house is about who we are at the core, it could maybe make you stronger at the core in some cases, in isolated cases where this actually happens. And this could be very tied in more strongly to memories of the past if this does happen, where you might reminisce and think about it, more so than most, because we are talking about the fourth house. So anyway. Well, Ceres in astrology can also be connected with family connections. Now, given that this is the fourth house, this could be something where there could be a lot of reminiscing, going into the past in terms of your family, going really tight into your roots, your ancestry. You might be, say if this is in Scorpio, you might find yourself digging deep, constantly going into your roots and your ancestry very frequently. It could also be about how your family might set you up or inspire you in terms of foundations. It could also be where the family could figure more prominently in that latter or end part of your life, more so than average. So anyway. Well, Ceres in astrology can also sadly be tied into dejection, sorrow, and disappointment. Now, this is a person that might feel strong despondency in connection maybe with their home or family life, or it could be connected, tied into their roots, their ancestry. They might dig into something and find out some things that are very discouraging or very negative or adverse. It could be something in one's home life. Say if this is in Capricorn, it could be something that causes really strong despondency, and maybe there's a lot of restrictions in connection with this. And another example too, if you have Ceres in the fourth house, and say if it conjuncts your natal Saturn or makes an adverse aspect to it, that could be another indicator where this could be more reinforced and reaffirm this energy. It might even be about who you are at the core. Let's say if this is in Pisces, and you have, especially if you have Pisces on the fourth house cusp, you might be somebody that might be a little bit dejected about who you are at the core in terms of maybe being overly ambivalent or nebulous or unclear, coming across a little bit ambiguous at times to others, and somebody that might be just very, maybe sometimes even delusional or overly idealistic. Anyway. Well, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with protection and protective energy. Now, given that this is the fourth house, this could be a person that might be very protective about it. It could just simply be about how they want to be buried, because the fourth house is connected with burials. If it's the end, and it's also associated with the end of life as well. So it might be a person that might take, their precautions and, have something written up in terms of how they want to be buried well ahead of time. And it could also be very protective of one's memories, whether it's through keep retaining photographs from even their early childhood or way back when or what have you, or saving information on the computer, saving photographs that way. It could be also very protective of one's home and their family as well, and being a strong family defender. Say if this is an Aries, this could be a person that may wind up getting into combative situations in honor of their family, on their family's behalf. I have Mars in Cancer, which is similar, so I can understand and resonate with some of this energy. But anyway, and it also could be very protective of one's traditions and being able to perhaps retain them in the future as well, and make sure that you're following them, as far as your traditions may go. And also too, as far as graves, now some isolated cases, this person might be a security over some graveyard in some isolated cases. Now hold on a moment, people. Well, next thing, Ceres can also be tied into clothing. Now, given that this is the fourth house, it could be something that ancestors may have wore previously. You might wear clothes that are comparable to what your family wears. It may be ones that are very traditional. And this could also be something, since we're talking about the fourth house, and the fourth house does correspond with the zodiac sign Cancer, clothing can be things that you might be more protective of than the average person. So, and this could be, and also the clothing you wear for whatever reasons might be more, that is significant in that latter part of your life. And especially, like, say, for example, if you're like a very successful person, it could be, a lot of times people are identified, sadly, superficially by what they wear. And it might be a person that really emphasizes how they dress in their clothes more in that latter part of life, more so than average. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with what one may obliterate in order to restore what they had previously had. Now, since we're talking about the fourth house, this could be, in some isolated cases, sadly, it could be ending family connection or connections in order to restore or their own emotional security. This could be the person, like, say, if this is in Scorpio as an example, that might end a family connection, a person that might have been causing a lot of crisis and upheaval in one's life, in order to have what they feel is their emotional security back and have more control over that. So anyway, people, that will conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.